Hi, Bo here from High Tech Investment, and no, this is not last week's video. As you can see, our thumbnail is starting to look like the same week on a week, and basically it's because the stability that we actually mentioned in the last week's update here also on the profit retriever, going back to having a look at the last 4 weeks, you can see that the weekly number at the bottom of the thumbnail is actually changing. So this is week 25. But for the last many weeks, we have basically had a good steady income every single week when we are looking back about 4 weeks time of around the 11,000. And that's the reason why this continues to pretty much be the same. And also it again accounts for the stability of the signals, and it accounts also for the stability of the profit retriever itself. So let's go and have a look and see how stable it was, because profits was a bit down this particular week compared to previous weeks. Now, the profit retriever for week 25, the top 5 EAs that we have in here, actually topped this time around by gold by $502 or 5.0%. The Aussie 200 index here made $402 and actually came out of a bit of a drawdown it had also, and still made 4% for the week. British pounds USD, the signal number 2 here, $384 or 3.8%. And then we have the New Zealand Swiss francs, $296 or 3%. Last one in the top 5 for that particular week here was the Euro AUD, $204 or 2.0%. Overall, a bit low on the profits, $1,789 or 3.6% for this particular week. It is very low. As we mentioned here, we have to go back a few months to see reasonable results, something like this. But obviously we are still very much in profit. We haven't blown any accounts, and that is basically what counts. Now, obviously, you can go and find a lot more information and background for how we have been trading for the last many months and weeks, and you do that on our website. As always, here we have the last 4 videos that you are watching right now. We have them on the website, always updated. And at the same time, we also have the last 4 weeks that you can go and find the profits in there with the profit retriever to see which ones are actually the ones that continues to do quite well. On top of this, we also have 4 months back, so you can actually take all these particular videos here. You can take the individual weeks, and then you can also compare them with the last postings for every single month going 4 months back. And if that wasn't enough, then you can click the button in the middle of the screen here also, and that will be our entire portfolio. That is close to about 500,000 here now, and a lot of different accounts that you can go and have a look at, both indicating indexes, metals, and a lot of Forex trading. And then at the bottom of the screen is again a bit of our recommendation for how you should actually be trading the individual metal indexes and Forex, what you need in your account in order not to blow it all. But let's go and have a look at the most important thing. We're going to have a look at the top 10, and we're going to look at the last 4 weeks and see how all the signals have been going. And we have one high jumper in here, actually came from 20th position and jumped straight into 10. And that's what I also mentioned here to you in last week's video. There is so many signals that are in the range of 5 to 10%, and they're all fighting over this particular week. It's around the 8% mark. So let's go and have a look at the exact numbers. So as usual, the top 10 accounts are here. We have number 1 to 10. We have our indexes, metals, and Forex tools that you can find here. And then we have individual links or account numbers. And then we have the last week results in that particular column here. And then 4 columns for week 22, 23, 24, and 25, including the total sum overall for the individual and also for the individual weeks. Total in percent, and then we're going to get back to the top 5 as usual. So let's start off with last week's number 1, which is also this week's number 1, is the US 30 number 2 index here, link 107C. It did go into a drawdown, but as you might have noticed here, so we saw a very good profit for week 22, then very weak one for 23, then back up again in 24. This week here it's down. So obviously let's hope it's going to be back again with another great results. and it's going to basically keep the index up there. At the moment, over the last 4 weeks, if you would have traded this particular signal here, you would have made $2,513 or 25.14%. That is definitely quite a lot more than the average. Gold has been extremely stable here also, and we still haven't put that on the CopyLink account, but we might do that because we can see the stability is really good at the moment, and also the market within the gold seems to be okay. It was number 3 last week. It's moved up to number 2. And again, for the various reasons, that is actually clocking in about $400 or $500 every single week. So the total sum ended up for $1,792 or 17.92%. And definitely it deserved the number 2 spot. Now the number 2 spot from last week was actually also a US 30 index here. So the original one that we had, but that has also managed to run into a bit of a drawdown similar to the number 1 signal up here. And that basically boosted down 1 position, but overall it still made $1,603 or 16.04% overall. So still we expect this one to come back again in a week or 2. The Aussie USD, which has been strong, it was number 4 last week and it continues to stay number 4. That is link 83C. And we can see also here it is clocking in every single week, 191, $420, 348, 131. So not a very strong week for week 25 overall. You can see that on pretty much all of the signals here, but it still comes out at $1,092 or 10.92%. So that is still quite good and over average. Aussie Japanese, link 98. We also mentioned here that there could be a bit of a drawdown. There was. It is now out of it again, and it managed actually for week 25 to do $103 no matter what. So very strong, and let's see how it's going to do from here. There has been a bit of volatility on the Japanese market here lately, and we can see that $960 was actually made in the last 4 weeks, or 9.61%, and that basically concludes the top 5 overall. And if you look at the bottom corner here on the right hand side, you will see that again very stable results compared to every single week that we have in here. We can see $7,962 or 15.92%, and that is pretty much the same as we had last week and the weeks before. There is a very small minute change in between the top 5 overall when we compare them on those 4 weeks going backwards. Let's have a look at link number 6 this week. It was number 8 last week. It's link 36. That is normally always cashing in quite nicely. It might not be up in the 10% all the time. And as you can see here also, it did quite well, apart from week 25, which only did $17, so not impressive. But again, when you compare it over a 4-week time period, you made $780 or 7.81%. So definitely now we're getting into the close middle field, as I mentioned here to you before, where a lot of them are actually hovering around at the moment, and that is great to see. Euro AUD is link 55, and here we have seen some instability on the signal itself. It was 13 last week, it jumped up, and if you notice here, it actually didn't produce anything for week 22 or week 24. It has only done very well, of course, in week 23, and then in week 25 it did 204. Still enough again overall to make $766 or 7.67%. So again, also here very tight race. The FTSE 100 was number 9 last week, and it has moved up from past the top 10, and this is link 101C. Again, here also we see the indexes. It will have some drawdowns. It even had a small little minus for week 22, and then it cashes in week 23, 24. Small little drawdown again, as it is in there at the moment, but it will definitely come out of it again. And it made $759 or 7.60%. So again, extremely close race, and it gets even closer. The Aussie Japanese, number 2 here, link 129C, was number 6 last week. It has dropped a bit down the line. It was one of the higher ones in here, but it has gone into a bit of a drawdown at the moment, and we expect that one hopefully to come out very soon. It had the best week in week 22 of $626. Then it slid down to 132 in the last 2 weeks. Hasn't produced much. But again, even though we see these changes within the signals, they are producing quite well, $759 and 7.59%. So again, very, very good range, even when things are not really working that well. The last one is our high jumper, as I mentioned here before, the Aussie 200 index. And that has been cashing in, as you can see, week on week, even though week 22 and 23 was not very strong. Week 24 was getting better, and now week 25, really, really good. And that is also how tight the race is. That ended up number 10, where last week it was number 20. And you can see, even with the numbers that you had here for 23, 22, 23, and 24, it's quite impressive that it still jumps up 10 spots and delivers $700 or 7.01%. If we go and have a look at the individual weeks, we can see that week 22 was definitely the best week with $4,329 or 4.33%. And then week 23, a bit on the weaker side here again, but still everybody is cashing in, 2,777 or 2.78%. Again, it comes down to the markets and the volatility within there. That is always what the profit retriever is looking for in order to gain a lot of cash and not trending too much in the markets. Week 24 was a bit up again here, $3,261 or 3.26%. And then we saw a very slow trading week here. We did have some movements, definitely on the silver part. That has also actually come out of the drawdown here now. It's not part of the top 10, but we might see that one coming back up again soon. Overall, very, very low, $1,361 or 1.36% for week 25. But again, we are going into the summertime. We are used to seeing this also last year when we are trading the profit retriever. It is a bit early, so let's hope things are picking up again in the next couple of weeks. Total sum, as I mentioned here before, it is pretty much the same as the last 2 or 3 weeks or even 4 weeks that we had here, $11,729 or 11.73% if you would have traded all these 10 signals. And again, quite impressive that the stability that comes into this particular way of looking at the numbers can be so consistent for such a long period of time. So to prove my point on the consistency here, I just put up the last videos we have sent out. You can see we have week 22, week 23, week 24, and this week we are at week 25. And every single one we have here, we are in the $11,000 range. If you would have traded our top 10 signals in here, when you are looking over the past 4 weeks, that is how stable it becomes. And that is the nature of this particular video here also, that we are trading a lot of different signals. As I said, more than 25 in here, and we are simply picking off the best ones because we understand that some might not deliver. Some might go into drawdowns and it takes a very long time to come back. But some of the currencies that has basically a knack for the profit retriever, or the profit retriever has a knack for the way the currencies are moving, then definitely those are the ones you want to trade, and not necessarily try just to force certain currency pairs to be traded on it. Look for what actually works. Look at our numbers here. And there's plenty of help on our website itself, where you can find a lot more information on which ones works, which one doesn't, apart from this particular video in here too. Now, obviously, this is not trading advice. This is not investment advice. This is entirely up to you, as usual, to figure out which ones you want to trade, which ones you don't want to trade. So this is only for information purposes only, but it definitely gives you a good guidance as to which ones that we can actually make work. And maybe you will have even more luck than we will have. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you, once again, are ready to trade the profit retriever. And please, by all means, also share your experiences, share the details that if you are following this particular video in here, what are you getting out of it? What are your profits? Are they better than ours or are they similar? So we would love to hear back from you also on how well you are doing and how impressed you are with the profit retriever. So I hope to see you on next week's video. Bye-bye.